Hey, welcome to Meadowbrook Homestead. In this episode, I'm going to be building a light configuration for a table that we're going to use to grow seedlings. So a couple of days ago, Donna gave me a time frame to have this done, which was today. So I'm going to go and build her a grow light configuration so that, like I said, she can grow the seedlings in here in the basement, and then eventually, once the weather is conducive, we're going to put them outside in the outdoor garden. So what we're using are a few of these grow lights that came off of a tower garden that we use outdoors, so it doesn't get used anyway, so we're going to use them indoors here. Some of the tools that I am going to need to do that is I have a small piece of OSB, some wood that I'm going to cut to fit, so I'm going to use this skill saw, Ryobi battery powered. I'm going to use a driver to put torque screws into the wood that I use. I'm going to use a drill with various drill bits to drill holes in the wood for mounting these lights. Basically have 3 of these that I'm going to secure to a board. The requirements are for me to have the light itself about 14.5 inches off the surface of the table, which will give us about 12 inches of light between the seed trays and the lights themselves, so that the seeds can properly grow within those seed trays. So without any further ado, let's jump into the build. So basically, I'm going to just get a rough estimate of what I'm going to want to cut down. I'm going to take this board down a couple of inches from the end, and might as well do it right. And so it's right at 30 right now to the board. I'm going to take it down to 27.5. Back to the edge on that side, close. 90-degree angle there. Yep. Gotta love these battery powered tools. So much easier to work with than tools of the past. This is an old scrap piece of OSB that I had in the garage, so it didn't cost me anything to use, but so roughly a couple inches in, I'm going to do something to that effect. These lights are very light in weight, so it's not like I need a strong backboard to hold them up. This is basically just to keep them in a somewhat straight configuration. So let's see. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place lights relatively where I want them, and then I'm going to mark, and I'm going to drill 4 holes for each light, and I'm going to secure the lights down onto the board using zip ties. So what I'm going to want to do first before I do that is I'm going to measure this, and I'm going to do a little bit of math and figure out where center is, and then I'm going to figure out the center between the other 2, and that's where I'm going to put the center line for those light bars. All right, so what did I do? 27.5, 13 3/4, right? Yes. 13 3/4. Boom, that's center line. So roughly looks like center line, doesn't it? This is a light that I'm going to be using just for a guide. I can take this way. Exactly 1 inch. Yep, exactly 1 inch. So if I put my center line on a half, then I can make my inner and outer lines, which is where I'm going to drill my holes. Having a square would be really nice about right now. How about now? So basically, if I put my drill holes on the outside of these crooked lines, I'll be able to wrap the cable ties through them and connect them up on the other side. Then we can move on from there. So the next thing I'm going to do is change out my bit. Put on a much smaller bit, one that I know that I'll be able to feed this through. Stay outside. Stay outside. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark center lines on each one of these light fixtures, and I'm going to make a little mark. Then I'm going to make center line marks on the board itself, so that when I put them in place and ratchet them down, I'll line up the mark so that there's an equal amount of weight across this board with the light fixtures themselves. So that's what I'm going to do next. So after I finished the initial configuration, I decided to change it up a little bit and put a hinge. Figured this is a little bit cumbersome if we want to use this table. So by putting a hinge, I'll be able to fold this up, and we'll only be using it during the seedling growing times of the year. And when we're not using it, it'll be stored away in a perpendicular. Hit that subscribe button to subscribe, and also the bell for notification when we have a new video out. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.